holiday gatherings, familiar faces, and how to structure safety using the gas model. If you listen to true crime, you already know this. Harm rarely starts with violence. It starts with access, with trust, with small, unremarkable moments that no one thinks to question until much, much later. Now, here's the part we don't talk about enough. Those same dynamics don't just show up in case files. They show up at birthday parties, holiday gatherings, family dinner, and crowded homes full of people we know well. And today, I want to give you something different than fear or vigilance fatigue. I want to give you a framework, one that lets you enjoy the gatherings and protect your children by stopping grooming behaviors before they escalate. This is the GAS model: grooming, access, and space. I'm Anna Sonoda, licensed clinical social worker, and this is Known and Trusted. Before we go any further, here's why this matters and why it matters right now. I work clinically and systematically with families impacted by grooming and child sexual abuse. I also study the patterns that show up before harm occurs, especially in homes that are loving, functional, and well-intentioned. This episode is not about suspicion, it's about structure. And structure is something you can control. Here's a statistic every parent should know. The majority of child sexual abuse occurs in private settings, most often the child's own home or the home of a trusted adult. And nearly all abuse is perpetrated by someone the child or family knows and trusts. Not strangers, not dark alleys, not random events. Familiar environments, familiar people, familiar trust. This is why parents, especially moms like me, experience such deep cognitive dissonance. We're told to relax around family, to assume safety, to stop being, quote, overprotective. But the data tells us something else. Unstructured familiarity creates risk. The good news, however, risk is not destiny. When you understand how grooming works and how access and space enable it, you can design safety into your family culture. That's exactly what the GAS model does and what we're going to work on in today's episode. If you multitask while listening, here's the anchor to keep in mind as we move forward. You don't need to identify a bad person. You need to control the conditions that allow harm. That's what comes next. So what is the GAS model? Let's define this simply. Grooming is the perverse courtship, the pattern of behaviors used to gain trust, lower defenses, and normalize access. Access is who gets time alone with a child, under what conditions, and why. Space is where interactions happen and whether they are observed or isolated. Abuse doesn't occur without all three. So prevention isn't about guessing who's dangerous. It's about controlling the conditions that make harm possible. And this is where parents and grandparents have far more power than they even realize. If you ever listened to a case and thought, how did no one notice? The answer is almost always this. The behavior was normalized. The access was assumed. The space allowed for isolation. What we do differently as parents is interrupt that progression early, without accusation and certainly without panic. Structure beats suspicion every single time. So Anna, how do we get started? Well, one of the strategies my family and I employ is the pre-game. What to say before we arrive. This is one of the most overlooked and I find most effective protective steps. When dealing with young children, I would say something like, today we're going to be around a lot of people. If you ever want to leave a game, need help, or something feels weird or confusing, come find me right away. I'll stop what I'm doing and you'll never be in trouble. For older kids and teens, I might say, if you're hanging out with adults or helping with younger kids today, let's do quick check-ins, just a wave or a quick stop. If you want to step out of a situation, say, I need to find my parent real quick. No explanations needed. I will back you every single time. And your internal parental script? Remember, You don't need proof to intervene. You're allowed to redirect. You're allowed to interrupt. Your job is not to protect adults from discomfort. It is to protect your children. That mindset shift matters more than any rule we'll cover today. So, Anna, what do I do during the event? How to apply the GAS model in real time? Number one, we're looking for grooming. You want to notice patterns, not personalities. Grooming often looks like extra attention, special privileges, gifts or treats, secret jokes or inside language, insistence on one-on-one time. This applies to adults and older kids. Your response is not confrontation, it's interruption. Hey, let's all stay out here. Come help me for a second. Hey, let's switch up the game. You're not accusing. You're collapsing the opportunity around grooming. A is for access. There's no need to have unmonitored one-on-one time. At large gatherings, access expands quickly, especially when parents are distracted or alcohol and other substances may be present. Set a clear internal rule. No closed doors or long one-on-one interactions without visibility. This protects children and protects teens from being placed in situations they aren't developmentally ready to manage. And the S is for space. Design the environment for safety. Keep play in common areas. Doors remain open unless someone is changing or using the bathroom. Lights stay on in basements and hallways. Adults float from room to room rather than camping out in one spot the entire time. Grandparents can be an invaluable resource here. They can often notice things without being perceived as suspicious, unlike parents. Let's talk a minute about substance use. This is not a moral judgment. Alcohol lowers attention. Distraction increases risk. So, you counterbalance. Designate a clear-headed anchor adult. Increase check-ins. Keep kids near shared, visible spaces. Don't rely on teens as default supervisors. This is how adults enjoy not only themselves and their company, and also keep kids safe. Let me pause you here with a core takeaway so far. Every protective move you're making controls either grooming, access, or space. That's the whole game. So what are some practical strategies we can use, Anna? First and foremost, make open and observable the default setting. This is the single most effective protective factor. Play happens where adults can see or hear it. Doors stay open unless someone is changing or using the toilet. This applies to adults, teens, older children, cousins, and family friends. Not because anyone is suspected, but because isolation is where grooming and peer-on-peer harm become possible. Number two, name the reality of holiday distraction. Holidays are busy. People host, people socialize. Alcohol or substances are often present. None of that makes you a bad parent. It makes you human. So instead of pretending supervision will be perfect, let's plan for reality. That's why routine check-ins are so important. Number three, build a culture of check-ins. Set a simple expectation. Check in with me every 30 to 45 minutes. A wave, a look, or a quick stop by the kitchen. This helps kids stay tethered. It keeps adults oriented, and it prevents long stretches of unsupervised time without anyone feeling watched. Grandparents can be especially powerful here. Number four, give kids a universal exit script and practice it. This protects kids from adults and older kids. If you ever want to leave a game or a conversation, say, I need to find my mom or dad real quick. No explanations are needed. No politeness penalty. Kids don't need bravery. They often need language. Next, we're going to keep affection optional. Forced affection confuses bodily autonomy. One sentence can shift family culture. Hugs are optional. High fives, waves, or smiles are also great. Grandparents, we need your help here to set the tone for more acceptance of raising kids today. The tone here, and your tone especially, often matters. Next, we're going to watch for the more interested than makes sense behavior. Pay attention when someone consistently pulls a child away, insists on one-on-one time, offers special privileges or secrets compared to the other kids, redirects play into isolated spaces like bedrooms or bathrooms, gets frustrated when interrupted. These are patterns, not accusations. Your response doesn't need confrontation, it needs interruption. Presence can shut down these opportunities effectively. Next, we're going to structure teen involvement. Teens are wonderful helpers, but still developing their own judgment. If teens are involved with younger kids, keep play in open areas, rotate adult presence, avoid closed door spaces, don't assign intimate caregiving tasks to these kids. This helps protect everyone. But Anna, what do I do when there's already a weird person at this event? Look, I'm just going to say the quiet part out loud. Most families already have someone whose behavior feels off, but is protected by history, status, or silence. 3 system-smart ways to interrupt patterns. 1. The helper loop. Visible tasks close to you. 2. The group gravity shift. An inclusive activity that remains in a centrally located spot in the house. And number 3, the buddy system. Shared supervision with another adult. These strategies work because they change access and space, not because they rely on confrontation. So, if at the beginning of this conversation I mentioned the importance of a pre-game discussion, then next we're going to talk about the post-event debrief. On the way home or just before bed, I'm going to have a conversation that goes something like this. Was anything confusing or weird? Any games you didn't like? Who did you enjoy being around most today? Who did you enjoy being around least? This isn't an interrogation. It's normalizing. Children often disclose in layers, so giving them an opportunity to practice debriefing and discerning environments is a great life skill. You cannot control people, but you can control structure. When you use this gas model, grooming behaviors lose traction. Access becomes intentional. Space stays observable. This isn't fear-based parenting, it's competent parenting. If this episode gave you clarity, share it with one parent, grandparent, or caregiver who needs it. That's how safety knowledge spreads. Thank you for being the kind of parent who doesn't just hope things are different, but designs them that way. I want to leave you with 3 simple actions that matter more than perfection, more than vigilance, and way more than fear. Show up. Be present in the spaces your children are occupying. Not hovering, not policing, just present enough that isolation doesn't take root. Look up. Notice patterns. Notice who pulls kids away. Notice when access expands quietly. You don't need proof, just awareness. Speak up. Interrupt, redirect, change the environment. Use your voice early, casually, and confidently. You are not accusing, you are protecting. You don't need to be dramatic to be effective. You don't need certainty to take action. And you don't need to sacrifice connection to create safety. When adults show up, look up, and speak up, grooming loses power. I'm Anna Sonoda, and this has been another episode of Known and Trusted. Thank you.